There comes a moment in every person's life when the tide turns, not by luck, not by chance, but by divine timing. That moment is now. You've prayed, you've labored, you've believed, and now the heavens are moving. God is about to blow your mind. But listen closely, the mind must be ready to receive what the heart desires. Your belief has not been in vain. You have been planting seeds in invisible soil. Just because you haven't seen the harvest yet doesn't mean it isn't coming. In fact, the longer the seed stays underground, the bigger the tree. The wait was not wasted, it was preparation. Too many stop believing right before the miracle. Don't make that mistake. What you're about to receive isn't small, it's massive. And the size of the blessing required heaven to rearrange things behind the scenes. You couldn't see it, but things were shifting. Doors were being crafted, not just opened. You must understand, faith is not passive. Faith is power in motion. The moment you believe and act in harmony with that belief, the universe mobilizes on your behalf. The forces of God, time, and nature collaborate to deliver what was always yours by divine right. You were never waiting on the blessing. The blessing was waiting on you to rise to its level. And now you have. Now is the time to lift your head, raise your standard, prepare your house. Clear the doubt from your mind like dust from a mirror. You are about to reflect glory. This next season will not look like your last. This blessing will wipe away every tear you cried in silence. It will answer questions you never asked out loud. It will validate the battles you endured when no one was watching. You must not shrink when it arrives. Don't question it. Don't second-guess it. Stand firm, smile wide, and say, I knew it was coming, because you did. The greatest blessings do not come to the one who merely hopes. They come to the one who prepares, who believes, and who dares to act as if it's already done. So I ask you, are you ready? Because what's coming will change your life forever. God is about to blow your mind. Faith, in its purest form, is not a wish. It is not a fleeting emotion that passes through the heart when circumstances are favorable. Faith is a mental state, a spiritual discipline, and above all, a law in motion. The kind of faith that precedes divine blessing is definite. It is focused, unshakable, and deliberate. It does not flicker with the winds of doubt or dim in the darkness of delay. It is fixed like a star and burns like a torch through the night. The mind that holds this kind of faith becomes a magnet for the impossible. Most people believe in God, but very few believe God. Fewer still believe Him with the kind of certainty that commands mountains to move. The blessings that transform lives do not come to the passive believer. They come to the one who sees the blessing before it arrives, speaks of it as if it were already in hand, and lives each moment with the conviction that it cannot be otherwise. That kind of belief is not arrogance, it is alignment with truth. It is not ego, it is expectation rooted in divine order. The mind must be trained to hold this level of faith. It must be conditioned daily like a muscle to reject doubt and receive vision. You cannot drift into definiteness. It must be seized, it must be owned, and it must be guarded like a treasure. Every thought you entertain is either feeding your faith or starving it. Every word you speak is either building your inner temple or tearing it down. When you understand this, you become intentional. You stop speaking in ifs and start affirming in whens. You stop wondering and start declaring. You begin to speak to your situation as though the outcome has already been determined. That is not foolishness. That is spiritual law. The universe responds not to desperation but to decision. The clearer your belief, the quicker your manifestation. When you believe vaguely, you receive vaguely. When you believe definitely, you receive precisely. The mind that doubts is like a ship without a rudder. It is tossed to and fro, subject to every wave of emotion, every breeze of circumstance. But the mind that holds definite faith is like a compass locked on true north. It may encounter storms, but it will not be deterred. The size of your blessing is directly tied to the size of your belief. If your faith is casual, your results will be occasional. But if your faith is relentless, if you believe with the intensity of one who knows that heaven cannot lie, then you set into motion forces far greater than anything you could ever produce alone. The gates of provision begin to open. The right people begin to appear. The resources begin to flow. The timing begins to align, not by your manipulation, but by your faith-filled expectation. You must understand that faith is not blind. It sees more than the eyes can see. It sees with the vision of the Spirit. It sees beyond time, beyond limitation, beyond history. It sees the end from the beginning. This kind of vision is not reserved for the elite. It is available to anyone who will believe without wavering, to anyone who will reject the noise of the world and lock eyes with the promise, to anyone who will silence the inner critic and instead feed the inner creator. Definiteness of faith is not quiet. It speaks, it commands, it acts. It moves forward when nothing looks possible. It makes room for the miracle before the miracle appears. It sets the table before the feast is delivered. It builds the ark before the rain comes. And that action, that bold, unwavering decision to prepare for what has not yet arrived, is what separates those who talk about blessing from those who walk in it. Faith does not wait to see. It creates the condition that brings the unseen into view. When you decide to believe with definiteness, you will be tested. The moment you fix your mind on a promise, resistance will come, not because you are wrong, but because you are right. The forces of opposition are not there to stop you. They are there to measure your resolve. Will you speak the blessing when your bank account is empty? Will you declare healing when pain is screaming through your body? Will you act like it's already done when every sign tells you it's over? That's where the power lies, not in the comfort zone, but in the proving ground of persistence. This is why the mind must be renewed daily. This is why your environment must be guarded. This is why you must speak the promise over your life again and again until it becomes the only voice you hear. You must believe on purpose. You must reject doubt with finality. You must hold your faith like a sword in battle, knowing that it will cut through any lie, any delay, any distraction. The mind that believes without condition becomes the womb for miracles. It is not a question of if, it is only a matter of time. And time is not your enemy. It is your servant, arranging the blessing, enlarging the reward, preparing the moment that will make everything make sense. So you must hold fast. You must see the blessing, speak the blessing, and act in harmony with the blessing before it is visible. Nothing appears in the material world that has not first been formed in the invisible. Every great achievement, every answered prayer, every breakthrough that arrives in the realm of sight has its origin in the unseen domain of spirit and thought. The world may only recognize what is visible, but the wise know that the roots of all visible success stretch deep into the soil of spiritual preparation. You do not stumble into abundance. You are summoned into it, called by the condition of your spirit and your willingness to become the kind of person who can carry the blessing without collapsing under its weight. The mistake most people make is to seek manifestation before they are prepared. They ask for promotion without discipline. They cry out for blessings but remain inwardly bound by fear, resentment, laziness, or doubt. They want the reward without enduring the refinement. But heaven is not foolish. Divine law does not promote what is unprepared. Just as no builder would construct a palace on sinking sand, no divine blessing is given where the foundation is unstable. It is not punishment, it is protection. What you call delay is often divine mercy. The wait is not withholding, it is shaping. It is not a denial, it is a deepening of your capacity to receive and sustain what is coming. The universe does not respond only to desire, it responds to readiness. It does not grant simply according to want, but according to alignment. You may want success, love, wealth, influence, but can you carry it? Have you built the character to protect it? Have you cleansed the inner doubts, the hidden sabotage, the unresolved bitterness that would cause you to fumble the gift after you've received it? This is why inner work cannot be skipped. Spiritual preparation is not optional, it is the prerequisite, and it is always tested in silence. There is a season when nothing around you seems to change, yet everything within you is being transformed. These are the sacred seasons. They are dry on the surface but fertile underneath. They are misunderstood by those who only measure progress in external signs. But within these quiet seasons, the roots are going deeper. The soul is growing stronger. Old mindsets are being dismantled. Small thinking is being broken apart. Vision is being clarified. You are being prepared for what you prayed for in the dark. When nothing is happening, everything is happening. You are being aligned with the frequency of the very thing you asked for. You are being trained to become the person who can live in the blessing without losing yourself to it. Your instincts are being sharpened. Your sensitivity to spiritual prompting is being heightened. Your discernment is being awakened. And all of this is happening in silence, without applause, without public acknowledgement. That is by design, because the blessing you are being prepared for is too great to be built on public opinion. It must be established on inner truth. You must learn to honor the hidden work. The most significant transformations take place in the invisible. The caterpillar does not transform in front of a crowd. It does so in isolation, in darkness, in a place where only God sees. And when it emerges, it does not need to announce its change. It flies, and flying proves the process. So too must you endure the cocoon of transformation. You must trust that the silence is not empty. It is sacred. It is not lifeless. It is loaded with purpose. And if you are wise, you will use this time to deepen your prayer life, to expand your vision, to discipline your habits, to strengthen your mindset, and to fortify your faith. Many are waiting for the door to open, but have not yet cleaned the room that will receive the blessing. They say they are ready, but they have not created a life of excellence. They have not let go of the mediocrity, the compromise, the divided loyalty that repels what they claim to desire. You cannot enter the next level with yesterday's mindset. You must evolve. You must allow the fire of spiritual preparation to refine your motives, to cleanse your perspective, and to set your heart in alignment with the blessing that is on the way. Preparation is proof of faith. To prepare for what you cannot yet see is to announce to heaven that you believe it's already done. To organize your life for increase, to rise early and act as though the opportunity has already arrived, to speak as though the door is already open. This is not fantasy, this is the behavior of someone who understands the laws of manifestation. God responds to bold faith wrapped in wise preparation, and when your inner life is in order, when your intentions are pure, when your habits reflect expectation, the door opens not because you begged, but because you became the kind of person who belongs in that room. The greatest blessings are not sent to those who shout the loudest, but to those who are most prepared in silence. Your season of spiritual preparation is not a pause, it is a process. It is not a delay, it is divine engineering. What is being built within you now is a structure that will hold the blessing you are about to walk into. The strength of your inner world determines the size of what you are trusted with on the outside. The anointing you carry in private becomes the platform you stand on in public. This is not the time to complain. This is the time to consecrate, to strip away every distraction, to focus, to build, to become. There is a realm beyond what the eyes can see and the hands can touch. It is not bound by time, space, or logic, yet it governs the flow of events with absolute precision. This realm is not fantasy. It is the root system of reality. While most people live and act only according to what is visible, those who understand the laws of success and divine order know that the unseen world is always at work. It is in this invisible domain that ideas take shape, that prayers are heard, that blessings are prepared, and that the forces of destiny are arranged. Every word you speak, every thought you think, every emotion you feel sends out a signal. That signal creates a vibration, and that vibration draws to itself things that match it. Nothing you do is neutral. You are always sending out a frequency, and the universe, acting under the direction of divine law, responds without fail. It is not a matter of belief. It is a matter of law. Gravity does not require your belief to work. Neither does the law of faith. Whether you are aware of it or not, your life is a mirror of your dominant inner state. The visible is simply the echo of the invisible. The mistake most people make is assuming that because they cannot see the forces are not moving. But the most powerful energies in this world are unseen. You cannot see the wind, yet it bends trees and lifts roofs from houses. You cannot see electricity, but it powers entire cities. You do not see the roots of the tree, but without them the fruit would not exist. So it is with the divine and universal forces that are now responding to the energy you carry within. If your spirit is in alignment, if your belief is firm, if your expectation is focused, then all of heaven begins to move toward you in response. People are being stirred. Resources are being allocated. Timing is being arranged with surgical precision. You may not see it, but you are being positioned for something beyond what your logic can comprehend. This is why you must never allow temporary circumstances to convince you that nothing is happening. The visible delay is not the absence of movement. It is simply the process of alignment. Just as a farmer does not dig up the seed to check on its growth, so you must not interfere with the process by doubting in the silence. You must hold your belief steady. You must trust that your prayers were heard the first time. You must understand that while you are waiting, the gears of heaven are turning. What you are believing for is not being ignored. It is being constructed. You are not alone in your pursuit. When you set your intention with clarity and faith, invisible assistance is dispatched on your behalf. There are forces whose sole function is to guide, guard, and gather. These forces are not passive, they are active. They go ahead of you, clearing the path, redirecting what was meant to harm you, and aligning divine appointments that you could never orchestrate through your own power. The right people are being drawn to you, not by your effort, but by the vibration you are sending. The right opportunities are being stirred, not by force, but by faith. The very atmosphere around you begins to change when you believe at a high level. You do not beg the blessing into existence. You attract it through alignment. The invisible realm is one of order, not chaos. There are laws that govern its flow. Belief is one of them. Gratitude is another. Action is a third. When you think in harmony with divine truth, when you speak in alignment with your vision, when you move as if it is already done, you synchronize with these invisible currents. Suddenly, you find yourself in the right place at the right time. What once seemed like coincidence is revealed as divine coordination. You look back and realize that what you thought were detours were actually the exact roads required to deliver you to your destiny. The forces at work are never late. They are never confused. They are never overwhelmed. It is only the human mind, conditioned by limitation, that doubts and delays. But the higher mind, the spiritually awakened mind, knows that what is seen is not final. It knows that delay is not defeat. It knows that even in the silence, something sacred is forming. This understanding is what gives you endurance. It is what allows you to keep showing up, to keep preparing, to keep sowing in faith when there is no evidence yet of a harvest. Because you know the work is being done. You know the forces are moving. If you could see what was being arranged behind the curtain of time, you would never worry again. You would never complain. You would never speak words of fear or frustration. You would walk with confidence. You would speak with power. You would plan with boldness. You would act with courage. You would lift your head high and prepare your table, not because you see the feast yet, but because you know it's already on the way. This is the behavior of one who understands the power of the invisible. They do not wait until it shows up to believe. They believe until it shows up. They understand that the real work was never what their hands could do. It was always what their spirit chose to align with. Desire without action is deception. Faith without movement is fantasy. The universe does not reward intention alone. It rewards bold execution. A man may pray, declare, and visualize all day long, but until he moves, nothing changes. Heaven does not deliver blessings to the idle. It partners with the active. Action is the evidence of belief. It is the signature you place at the bottom of your prayer. It is the final ingredient that turns the spiritual into the tangible. Until you act, you are only rehearsing a dream. But once you act, you signal that you are ready to receive what you have declared. Most people spend their lives waiting for confirmation, waiting for signs, waiting for the right mood, the perfect timing, the clear path. But waiting, when divorced from obedience, becomes a mask for fear. It becomes spiritual procrastination. They say they are waiting on God, but God has already moved. The instruction was given, the door was placed, the path was lit. What remains is their step. What remains is their move. Every major shift in life begins with a simple act of obedience, A call made, a plan written, a room cleaned, a habit broken. A small act that unlocks the larger chain of events already set in motion. Action is the bridge between vision and manifestation. It is the place where heaven meets earth, where the invisible becomes real. A vision without action is like a seed never planted. It holds potential, but potential alone has no harvest. You must move. You must do what you can with what you have from where you are. It may seem small. It may feel insignificant, but the act of movement carries a spiritual weight far beyond its physical size. It demonstrates to the universe that you are no longer a spectator in your own life. You have entered the field. You have placed your faith into motion. No force in the universe favors the hesitant. Doors open for the decisive. Blessings descend upon the bold. There's something sacred about the person who refuses to stay stuck, who chooses to move even when clarity is not complete, because clarity often comes through motion. The step creates the staircase. The leap reveals the landing. You were never meant to know every detail before you began. That is not how faith works. That is not how destiny unfolds. You move first, and as you move, wisdom is released, resources are uncovered, strength is multiplied, divine favor begins to flow. Every act of aligned action releases energy. It breaks inertia. It tears through stagnation. It shifts the atmosphere around you. You were not designed to sit in perpetual reflection. You were built to move, to create, to build, to act in faith even when fear whispers its threats. The longer you hesitate, the harder it becomes to begin. But the moment you step out, momentum begins to serve you. The spiritual realm takes notice. The same winds that once opposed you begin to carry you. You are no longer pushing alone. You are being pulled by a current far greater than your own strength. The blessing is already prepared. It is not waiting to be created. It is waiting to be claimed. And claiming requires movement. You do not receive the harvest by staring at the field. You receive it by putting your hands to the plow. You do not inherit the future by imagining it alone. You do so by stepping into the day with intention, with fire, with commitment to act regardless of what you feel. Feelings are temporary, but the fruits of discipline are eternal. Action is not always comfortable, but comfort has never produced greatness. Those who act receive the revelation. Those who act uncover the provision. It is in the doing that doors appear. It is in the obedience that acceleration comes. The timing is divine, but it responds to initiative. The delay is not always due to external resistance. Often, it is because movement has not yet been made. When you begin, the universe conspires with your faith. When you take the step, heaven begins to shift the natural in your favor. People you've never met begin talking about you. Situations you thought were closed begin to reopen. The earth responds to a soul in motion. The blessing was never meant to fall into your lap while you sat with folded arms. It was meant to be pursued, to be prepared for, to be reached for with grit, with effort, with sweat, and sometimes through tears. But every step you take builds your character. Every small victory reinforces your identity. You begin to see yourself as one who acts, not one who delays. You begin to trust your instincts. You begin to align with the rhythm of divine flow. Action becomes your second nature, and once it does, blessing becomes your environment. You must not wait for permission. You must not seek constant validation. The vision was given to you, not to the crowd. You must move before others understand. You must build before you see results. You must keep showing up even when no one claps. The blessing is coming, but it is attached to the motion. You are not being punished by the process. You are being shaped for the magnitude of what is coming. And the more consistently you move, the clearer the way becomes. There is power in a made-up mind, in a spirit that refuses to quit, in a person who has decided once and for all that no matter the cost, they will move. Every breakthrough begins in the mind. Every limitation also begins there. The mind is the soil in which all outcomes are first planted. If your thoughts are poisoned, your results will be bitter. If your thoughts are fertile with vision, belief, and purpose, your results will reflect that richness. The mind does not just influence your life, it governs it. Nothing can consistently grow in your world unless it is first permitted, cultivated, and sustained in your inner world. The condition of your mind determines the ceiling of your life. Before life can change around you, it must shift within you. You can only go as far as your thoughts allow. If your mind is bound, your life will be bound, even if opportunity surrounds you. If your mind is free, no external prison can hold you. This is why two people can face the same challenge, yet one crumbles while the other rises. The difference is not in the event, it is in the interpretation. One sees a dead end, the other sees a divine detour. One sees rejection, the other sees redirection. The external is neutral. It is the mind that defines meaning, and the meaning you assign becomes the experience you live. Your thoughts are not random, they are architecture. Each one builds something. Every repetition of a thought is a brick placed in the structure of your future. If you think you are powerless, your actions will align with defeat. If you think you are called, chosen, and equipped, your spirit will carry the weight of that truth and you will begin to act like it. What you entertain internally becomes what you manifest externally. You cannot escape the law. You cannot sow weeds in your mind and reap roses in your life. The mind is the gateway to the spiritual realm. It is the portal through which faith flows or fails. The battle is never just about your circumstances. It is about the strongholds in your thinking. When fear controls your thoughts, your actions will be timid, hesitant, self-sabotaging. When faith fills your thoughts, your movements become bold, decisive, magnetic. The world responds to the frequency of your mind. Your mindset is not invisible. It broadcasts energy. It either repels blessing or attracts it. This is why it is not enough to pray for change. You must think in alignment with what you prayed for. You must believe at the level of the breakthrough you are asking to receive. Many people try to change their lives without changing their thoughts. They rearrange the surface but never address the root. They switch jobs, relationships, or routines, but carry the same mindset that created the old reality. So the patterns repeat, the frustration deepens, and they begin to think change is impossible. But it is not that life refuses to improve. It is that the mind refuses to evolve. You must renew your thinking daily. You must challenge the thoughts that no longer serve you. You must uproot beliefs that were planted by fear, by trauma, by culture, by limitation. You must replace them with truth, with vision, with possibility, with power. Your mind can be trained. It can be reprogrammed. Just as muscles respond to repetition, the mind responds to focus. You are not a prisoner of your first thoughts. You are the gatekeeper. You choose what stays and what must leave. And this choice is made daily, sometimes moment by moment. When a thought of doubt arrives, you can interrogate it. You can ask, who sent you? What evidence do you have? Are you aligned with where I'm going? If the answer is no, you replace it. You speak the truth. You affirm your identity. You remind yourself of what you carry and why you cannot afford to entertain anything less than faith. Your imagination is not a toy, it is a tool. It is a divine preview. When you visualize a greater life, you are not escaping reality, you are reshaping it. Your mind is the workshop of creation. Every empire was first a thought. Every invention was first a picture. Every movement began with a mental shift. If you can see it clearly enough within, you can build it without. The clearer your mental image, the more focused your energy becomes. Clarity of vision attracts the resources, people, and timing that match your intention. The mind creates the mold into which life is poured. You must guard your mind like a sacred gate. Every influence matters. Every voice you allow in your space is shaping your inner world. Protect your input. What you feed your mind will become the fuel of your destiny. If you consume fear, lack, gossip, and doubt, your spirit will shrink. But if you fill yourself with wisdom, vision, truth, and power, you will rise. You will become a magnetic force that draws in favor and forward movement. There is nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. When your thinking is aligned with your purpose, when your thoughts are harmonized with divine truth, there is no limit to what you can accomplish. Obstacles become stepping stones. Delays become divine timing. Opposition becomes opportunity for elevation. Because you understand that your mind is not simply a receiver of information, it is the sender of intention, the activator of faith, the spark that initiates the miraculous. The greatest tragedy is not unanswered prayer, but a heart that gives up before the answer arrives. Delay has a way of whispering lies. It tells you that your voice was ignored, that your dream was misplaced, that your belief was foolish. But delay is not denial. Delay is preparation in disguise. What looks like stagnation on the surface is often divine alignment beneath it. The blessing has not been canceled, it is being cultivated. The timing has not failed, it is being perfected. And though you may not see it yet, everything you need is being drawn to you in exact order and measure. When a seed is planted in the soil, the gardener does not panic when it doesn't sprout overnight. He knows the laws of growth. He trusts the invisible process beneath the dirt. He does not rush outside every hour to dig it up. He knows that the root must take form before the fruit ever emerges. So it is with every promise, every vision, every divine instruction. Before the external manifestation, there must be an internal foundation. Before the opportunity arrives, you must be made strong enough to carry it. If it came too soon, it would crush you instead of bless you. Delay is often the classroom of character. It tests your endurance. It sharpens your focus. It reveals your true level of belief. Many say they believe, but belief is not proven when things happen quickly. It is proven in the silence, when nothing seems to be changing, and yet you still prepare as if the answer is guaranteed. That is the faith that moves heaven. That is the attitude that accelerates the arrival. The person who waits with expectation, with preparation, with gratitude, is never truly waiting at all. They are building. They are aligning. They are becoming the version of themselves who is ready to steward what they once only imagined. If everything came instantly, nothing would be appreciated. Patience is not punishment. It is protection. It is the sign that the divine has not forgotten you, but is rather refining you. You are not being delayed to frustrate you. You are being delayed to strengthen you. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared for overflow. And when it comes, you will realize that the waiting was not wasted. Every day you kept showing up, every time you pushed through the silence, every step you took in the dark, none of it was for nothing. It all added weight to your reward. When the dream is true and the calling is real, delay is inevitable. Not because the dream is impossible, but because the process is essential. Rushing the process is like pulling a butterfly out of its cocoon before it is ready. It may appear faster, but it will never fly. You must trust that what is delayed is still on schedule according to a higher timeline. There are pieces being moved that you cannot see. Conversations being held behind closed doors. People being positioned. Resources being released. It is not that nothing is happening. It is that so much is happening at once, it must be ordered with divine precision. Doubt thrives in delay only when belief is not rooted. This is why you must anchor yourself in the promise, not in the pace. You must believe in the vision even when the evidence says otherwise. You must act with the certainty of one who already holds the reward. That kind of posture sends a frequency into the atmosphere. It declares that you are not shaken, that you are not moved by appearances, that you are governed by faith, not by sight. And when you carry that frequency, life begins to shift in your favor. Delay also purifies intention. It separates those who are truly called from those who are casually interested. It exposes the ones who want attention from the ones who want transformation. Because when the spotlight is gone, when no one is clapping, when the doors seem shut and the silence is loud, what remains is your why. If your reason is rooted in ego, delay will dismantle it. If your reason is rooted in purpose, delay will deepen it. And once it is deep enough, you become immovable. You become the kind of person the blessing can safely rest upon. There are things that require time, not because you're not ready to receive, but because others are not ready to participate. Sometimes the delay is for their growth. Sometimes it is to create a collision of perfect timing that could never be arranged by human hands. Sometimes what you think is delay is actually synchronization. Two paths being aligned, two hearts being prepared, two timelines being woven together into one divine moment. If it happened now, it would be incomplete. But if you wait, If you endure, if you trust, what is coming will be greater than what you are asking for. There is no such thing as wasted waiting when you wait in faith. Every second becomes an investment. Every moment becomes a brick in the foundation of your destiny. Keep moving forward even when the door hasn't opened yet. Keep building as if the future is already guaranteed. Keep preparing the room, setting the table, writing the plan, polishing the gift. Because when the moment arrives, and it will arrive, it will not be the time to start getting ready.